What's going on, folks? It's Joe, and I'm recording a vlog today. The DIY video is a little disappointed because I thought I would finish it this week. It turned out to be harder than I thought it would be, and I need some more bits for my Dremel to finish it. So I'm putting it in two parts. One part will be released this week, the other part will be released next week. So apologies for that, but it is on its way. It'll be released, I'm planning, tomorrow. So, I have some insights today. As you know from the title, this is a perfect analogy for understanding meditation and Buddhism. I had a vlog about my float tank 2 days ago, day number 71. This is day number 73. And I experienced what a lot of people talk about in meditation, which is your mind being like water and it quieting down. And the next day, which was yesterday, I was looking at this guy, I think his name is Dr. K, I think. He has a Twitch channel where he helps gamers with their mental health, and it's essentially a live therapy session with a gamer, and he has this one with a guy who believes he can't get a girlfriend, and it turns out he's hopeless, and his hopelessness is protecting him because he doesn't want to be disappointed. I'm oversimplifying it, but in it he was talking about how your mind is like your hand. It's a part of your body, and it has a purpose. Your hand can grasp things, it can punch things, it can feed yourself, it could make things, but your mind is not all of you. You're not always your mind. Your mind is only part of you. And when you step back from your mind, you can watch it, and you can watch it from a place of peace where you're not caught up in your own thoughts. And today I did half of my workout because I have a pretty packed day. I did half of my workout, and then I'm doing the second half later. And on the way home, I discovered an analogy. It clicked on the way home. I was driving, and I'm thinking, driving. My mind is like an engine. My mind is like an engine. It's going all the time. It's idling all the time. Oh my God. I don't have to have the clutch in, do I? Like, my mind idles all the time. That's what it does. It's what all our minds do. We always have that chatter in the back of our mind. We might not always be in tune with it. We might be under it sometimes. We might be on top of it sometimes. Kind of like the clouds. Sometimes you're under the clouds. Sometimes you're on top of the clouds if your thoughts are the clouds. Your mind is always idling. Unless you're on psychedelics, then you're pure perception. But your mind, your sober mind, is always idling. They call that the default mode system, DMS, I think. Yeah. And it's the mental chatter. It regulates what parts of the brain talk to what other parts of the brain. It's essentially the biological place where your worldview is, where your narrative is, where your story is. It keeps things orderly in your mind. It keeps all the things going on in your mind orderly. It is this part of the mind that is overactive in things like OCD. It's overactive, so it's trying to create too much order. There's also, this is oversimplifying it because there's other things going on. It's malfunctioning and things like ADHD where you're overly distracted. And I'm talking about actually diagnosed ADHD. I'm not talking about the bullshit that people call ADHD, including some doctors, that is really just a normal human being. The default mode system is a bunch of structures in your mind, and it's been shown that this scientifically this is the place of the ego. This is the thing that's on all the time. When you're doing nothing else, this is what's creating the mental chatter, helping you organize your thoughts, helping you organize things, which is useful, 100% useful. It helps you keep a sense of consistency in your life, so you don't freak out because everything's chaos. Otherwise, your whole life would be like you're on LSD all the time, because that's one thing that LSD and psilocybin and DMT also does some other stuff, but LSD and psilocybin and DMT, amongst other things, they shut down your default mode network, and then different parts of your brain that usually don't talk to each other, like it's essentially chaos after that. Like parts of your brain that don't normally talk to each other, and it's unregulated. But that's what's idling. That's the engine of your mind that's idling all the time, that DMS, a default mode system. And what I've discovered, was the analogy, was that if your mind is an idling engine and you're driving a manual, why do you have the clutch in all the time? You don't have to have the clutch in. You could take the clutch out. For those of you who don't know, for those of you who've always driven automatic, and I've only driven manual once, well, driven manual twice actually, the engine's always running in your car. That's why when you take your foot off the brake on an automatic car, it just inches forward because the engine's always running. You have to keep your foot on the brake to stop that natural inching forward. When you're in neutral, it's essentially, so taking the clutch out is essentially like being in neutral. It's probably, I don't know mechanically it's the same thing, but it's probably very similar, if not the same thing. Where the engine's going, but the gears, the clutch, is not tapped into the gears. So the engine turns these gears, that turns the transmission, that turns the wheels, right? The clutch connects the engine to the transmission. So and I'm not a mechanic, and I don't know too much about cars, so if I'm fucking this up, sorry. I think I'm right. I'm like 90% sure I'm right. The engine's turning something, I think the flywheel or whatever, and then, I don't know exactly what part of the car, but the clutch goes in, it connects that turning to the transmission, which turns the turning into wheel movement. It's a bunch of gears, crazy gears under the car, that turn the turning of the engine, connect it, and it turns it into wheel movement. So that connection between the transmission and the engine is the clutch. It's the thing that goes into the engine, the engine's movements, and then it gets out of it. So when you drive automatic, the car does that for you. It does all the clutch work for you, changes the gears, so it works the clutch when you change the gears. It automatically changes the gears from 1 through 6. I don't know if on a 6-speed car, I don't really know how this works, so sorry if I'm fucking this up. But it changes the gears when your engine hits a certain RPM, it'll change it for you. On a manual car, you do that yourself. So if you've driven manual, you know you have to push the clutch in to essentially disengage the transmission from the engine. Now it's essentially like you're running in neutral. The engine's turning, but it's not connected to the transmission. So it's not affecting the movement of the car, but it's still turning. Now, you can try to stop your mind from turning, but you can't really do that, because when you say, hey, mind, stop, well, you're in the mind, telling the mind to stop, so you're actually making more thoughts. You're actually kind of making it go faster, because one part of your brain is like, stop thinking, the other part of the brain is like, okay, even if it's like, okay, which it won't be, like, usually it'll fight back. But if it's like, okay, well, now you're still thinking, you're still idling, because now you're like, okay, I'm good, I'm stopped thinking, that's good. You can't do that. You can't stop the mind from inside the mind. The only thing you can do is step outside the mind and look at it and allow it to be what it is, because it's going to idle. It's going to idle. Unless you're on drugs, it's going to idle. So what you have to do is you have to disengage the clutch. You have to step back and you have to watch your brain idle, and then understand that you're not your brain. You disconnected it from driving your emotions. You've disconnected your brain from driving your awareness, from telling you where to focus, from telling you what to do, from telling you how to feel. But I have goals, you have goals. Goals require thought. Sometimes you have to put the clutch in. If you want to go somewhere, if you're in a car, and I'm here and I want to go there, and I have my clutch out, I'm going fucking nowhere. Best case scenario. Worst case scenario, I'm parked on a hill and I take the brake off and my clutch isn't in and my car rolls backwards and I crash. So you need the clutch in sometimes. You need to be attached to thoughts. If you want to go to a specific place, you need to be attached to thoughts to help you drive there, to help you as the observer integrate with this world, with this practical world that you see around you. You need to put your clutch in to the engine of your mind so it can drive you there. But the thing is, it's like your hand, right? If your mind is a part of you, just like your hand is, I'm not using my hand all the time. I am when I'm brushing my teeth. I am when I'm masturbating. I'm not going to tell you which hand, though. It's both. I am when I'm eating. I am when I'm grasping something, when I'm shaking somebody's hand, when I'm washing my hands. But when I'm not, my hand isn't always doing, like right now, I'm expressing with my hand a little bit to enunciate my words, to communicate to you non-verbally. But my hands aren't always like doing something. I'm not just like going around like talking and then hands doing stuff. That would be awkward. That would be weird as fuck. When I need something to be done, or when I'm communicating, when I need my hands to work in a certain way, like right now, I'm moving my hand to enunciate my words. Enunciate's the wrong word, but you know what I mean. When I don't need anything to be done, like this hand, it's just here. Why? Because I have no use for it to do anything. That's what your mind should be. Your mind should be the same way. Now, because your mind is more like an engine, this is more like a screwdriver. A screwdriver, you leave it on the table, it does nothing. Your mind's more like an engine when you're awake. It's idling all the time. So what you have control over is that clutch. Are you connecting your transmission, which is like your feelings, your actions, your feelings and your actions, and your emotions. Are you connect, because that's what drives you. Your emotions drive you, and your actions are the evidence of you, what you want to do. Like your actions are your actions, right? Are you connecting your emotions and your actions to your thoughts, or are you leaving it unattached? And that's something you need to be in control of. Sometimes you might be overly unattached when you should be plugged in. That's like, I'm on the couch, I'm feeling like I don't want to do anything. Your mind's telling you, hey, you need to do something. Hey, you have goals. Hey, you have desires. Go fucking after them. And your clutch is out when it should be in. You should be going somewhere, but you're not. Your clutch is out, right? That's when you're too far out. When it's too far in is when you're like, oh my God, what's going on? I need to make sure that this is okay, and this is okay, and this is okay. And you're getting anxious, and you're getting neurotic, and oh my God, your mind is overactive. It's not that your mind is overactive. It's that you've left your clutch in, and now you've taken your foot off the brake, and your car's still moving forward, but you don't have anywhere you're trying to get to. And that's dangerous, because like, your car's moving forward, you're not at the wheel, you're gonna crash into something. So, this analogy was a really good summary of the things I've been discovering after this float tank, and after the float tank, I also upped my daily meditation from 5 minutes to 10 minutes, because I decided, as I said in the other video, I decided that I want to come out of the float tank a different person than I went in. And part of that is integrating that into my life, and part of integrating the float tank experience into my life is meditating a little bit more every single day. So I hope this helped you. If it did, please share, like, subscribe, or not in that order, say like, subscribe, share with your friends on Snapchat or Snap Text or TikTok. Fuck, I messed up the joke. Snap Text or TikTok or whatever you kids use nowadays. I was so proud of that joke, but I completely fucked it up. Anyway, hope this helped you out, and cheers. DIY video will be out tomorrow.